Billy is a young and ambitious blogger. She's shooting a makeup tutorial for her TikTok. Can you spot anything odd here? The mirror in the background should reflect her back, not her front part. Billy gets an invitation to visit a meetup for famous influencers. This party is epic. Good music, delicious food, and beautiful people. Moreover, every VIP guest gets a bag full of expensive gifts. Suddenly, Billy sees Sebastian. He's a famous video blogger with 20 million followers. And her secret crush. Can you guess which one of these guys is Sebastian? The first guy looks pretty chic, but he has a fake bag, so it's unlikely that he's an influencer. Let's take a look at the remaining two guys. Sebastian has millions of followers. Therefore, he's 100% a VIP guest. Only the third guy carries the gift bag, so he's Sebastian. Billy and Sebastian fall in love, but they want to keep it a secret. That's why they spend a romantic weekend in a forest cabin away from the paparazzi. But unfortunately, someone leaked their picture, and now all the tabloids discuss their secret date. Only 3 people knew about this trip. Billy questions them. Harry, the driver, says, "I brought you to the cabin on Saturday and picked you up on Sunday, just like you asked. I didn't tell anyone because I signed a non-disclosure agreement." Billy's assistant, Amy, says, "I booked the cabin under my own name so that no one would figure out that you're hosting celebrities." And Sebastian's sister, Bianca, says, "I didn't tell anyone about your date. I was feeling sick. I had to stay home alone because my daughters were at school." Who's lying? Bianca, schools are closed on weekends. A new spa salon invites Billy over for a promotion campaign. She goes to the pedicure room and sees these 3 clients. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's the second lady. Take a look at her feet. After the sauna, Billy goes to the shower and washes her hair. Unfortunately, someone pranked her by replacing the shampoo with paint. Can you guess who did it? The lady on the right is guilty. There's paint on her hand. Billy decides to eat in her favorite restaurant. She enters and sees these 3 guys. Can you guess who's having a date? It looks like the first guy is having a romantic dinner with his book. And the third gentleman has 1 set of dishes. Meanwhile, the second guy has 2 plates on his table and he's hiding a small gift in his pocket. So he's the only one who's waiting for his date. Sebastian invites Billy to a family dinner to introduce her to his mother, Prudence. They arrive and find her in the middle of a quarrel with the police. Prudence claims that her housemaid stole her antique pearl necklace, but the housemaid denies everything. Who's lying? Prudence. The pearls are in her hair. The next day, Billy goes hiking with her friends. They take some pictures for her blog. Can you spot 3 differences between these photos? Over here. What about these 2 pictures? Can you find 5 differences? Here they are. Billy meets her old friends. They haven't seen each other for 5 years. Billy has to make a quick phone call, and she walks outside. In a couple of minutes, she comes back and sees her friend Luna lying unconscious on the bathroom floor. There's a weird mark on her cheek. The waitress says that it looks like a vampire's bite. One of Billy's friends must have turned into a vampire. She decides to invite her friends for lunch to find out who exactly. Guys, let's have a picnic on the beach tomorrow and discuss who bit Luna. How can Billy identify the vampire? Billy should invite her friends to the beach. The one who would refuse to go there must be a vampire. Billy throws a birthday party at her house. She only eats plants. That's why she hires the most trendy cook to prepare a classy vegetarian dinner. The party goes great. Everyone has fun. The next day, Billy finds out that someone had replaced salt and sugar in her kitchen jars. Billy questions 4 suspects. The cook says, "Miss, I wouldn't have become a celebrity chef if I wasted my time on silly pranks." Dan says, "I gorged myself on chicken nuggets at the very beginning of the party, and then I stayed away from the kitchen and the food." Emma says, "I think I saw someone rummaging through the kitchen when I was swimming in the pool." And Sebastian says, "That wasn't me, but you should check everyone's phones. The prankster probably filmed everything." Who's lying? Dan, it was a veggie party. He couldn't have eaten the chicken nuggets. Billy wants to find her new business partners, so she's visiting a conference and meets 3 people. Each person offers Billy a collaboration. Megan says, "I developed my own fashion line and I've recently launched my first offline boutique. Would you like to be the face of my brand?" Jeanette says, "I run the largest marketing company in the country. If you sign an exclusive contract with me, I'll find the best deals for you." And Francois says, "Lady, you should sell beauty products under your own name. I can help you launch a business." Only one of these offers isn't fake. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at Francois. He has stolen someone else's badge, so he's an imposter. And Jeanette is wearing a waitress uniform under her fancy jacket. It's unlikely that she's a company owner, so Billy should trust Megan. The next week, Megan invites Billy to a photo shoot. Billy arrives at the studio, but the door is locked. She needs to enter a 5-number code. Her phone battery has discharged, and unfortunately, she doesn't remember the code by heart. Do you have any clue what it might be? We should take a look at this poster and count the number of petals in each daisy. So the code is 58677. Billy enters the studio and sees Megan, the photographer and stylist, and a bunch of pretty clothes and shoes. Can you count the exact number of shoes in this picture? The correct answer is 13. 4 people are wearing 8 shoes, plus 5 more are scattered around the studio. The photo shoot is about to begin, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Billy finds out that her smartwatch is missing. She questions 3 suspects. The stylist says, "I was cleaning my makeup sponge when the lights turned off. I didn't move from my place." The photographer says, "I have my own smartwatch. Why would I need yours?" And Megan says, "Come on, you're a famous influencer. Why would I ruin my own reputation?" Who's lying? The photographer. Billy's watch is wrapped around his camera lens. After work, Billy meets Sebastian in their favorite restaurant. They ask the waiter to take their picture. He takes 2. Can you spot 10 differences between them? Here they are. After dinner, they go for a walk. Can you spot 3 odd things here? fish swim on the surface of this window. Also, this lady is wearing a snake instead of a scarf. And this taxi is driven by a raccoon.
Bob went scuba diving for his birthday. He got to see the rich marine life of Florida's ocean, but when he was down there, he hit his head on a coral reef. Now, it turned out that Bob was fine, except for the fact that he had lost a bit of his short-term memory. When he arrived home, there were 3 beautiful women waiting for him. Hey, it was his birthday. They all claimed that they were his wife. Well, take a look at the image. Can you help Bob figure out who is really his wife? It's the second woman on the right. If you look closely, you'll see she's wearing the same gold ring that Bob's wearing. Henry is the CEO of his own company. Have a look at the picture. One of these ladies is Henry's sister. Can you figure out who? Although he's looking at the woman on the right, his sister is on the left. They both have the same birthmark on their necks. Good eye if you caught that. There was a recent break-in at Mr. Frank's grocery store. Luckily, the security cameras captured everything. Mr. Frank called in Detective Harper to crack the case. Harper noticed one small but very important detail that solved the mystery. Take a peek at the images Detective Harper reviewed. Can you figure out who the thief is? Let's see. That guy is just carrying around a baguette. The one near the fridge has normal groceries in her cart. And the last guy is holding a lettuce in his hands. But hey, take a look at the lettuce. It has such a weird shape. In fact, it has a banana inside of it. That guy was trying to sneak out with a banana and a lettuce. He's the thief, definitely. And a weird one. It's finals week at Crestwood Academy, and the tension is sky high. Check out the classroom and see if you can figure out who is cheating. It's the student with the smartwatch. He's looking at his watch to get the answers to the exam. Mrs. Bells has 3 sons. She is the best cook in the family, and she loves to make her family amazing dinners. Her sons love her, but say she keeps giving the best food to her favorite son. Examine the image carefully. Can you figure out who is her favorite son? It's the one in the middle. While all the other boys have a food plate in front of them, the little guy in the middle is already eating dessert. She gave him the best first. Bibi, Jenna, Miriam, and Jackie were called to the CEO's office for a meeting. It started to rain just before the meeting, and one of the ladies got in at the last minute. Their shoes got wet, and they stained the boss's carpet. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out who stained his carpet? It was Miriam, the third lady in the middle. She is the one wearing high-heeled shoes, and if you look closely, that's the shape that matches the footprints. It was Paula's wedding, and everyone was beyond excited. One of the bridesmaids just caught the bouquet and was happily talking to the other ladies about it. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out which one of them caught it? It's the lady on the left. If you notice, she's surrounded by bees, who were attracted by the flower's pollen. It was Ricky's birthday, and he invited his best friends to go camping with him. The weather was perfect, so they decided to get a group picture next to the lake. Take a look at the picture. Can you figure out which of these 2 people are a couple? If you look closely, The first girl on the left and the boy in the middle have matching tattoos. They have a cute little heart tattooed in different parts of their bodies. They're definitely a couple. Sarah is getting married, and she invited her bridesmaids for a dress fitting. One of the bridesmaids is pregnant, though. Can you figure out who? Oh, it's the lady eating the pie, of course. She's definitely having one of those irresistible cravings. Sandy and Priscilla met for afternoon tea, and one of the ladies took Jake, her younger son, along. Can you figure out who Jake's biological mother is just by looking at the picture? It's Sandy, the woman on the left. She's got the same hair color as Jake. Jenny's living large, and Lana's just scraping by. Take a look at the snapshot of both of them in their apartments. Can you tell who's who? Lana's on the left. Even though her place looks pretty stylish, all the decor still has the price tags on it. She's probably planning to return everything after snapping that picture. Alex and Jordan finally decided to get married after dating for 5 years. On their wedding day, just before the ceremony was about to start, Jordan asked Alex to grab a bracelet from her dressing room, the one he gave her on their first anniversary. But when Alex walked in, something super weird happened. 3 Jordans were standing before him, all looking exactly the same. Since Jordan's uncle was a bit of a mad scientist, Alex immediately suspected he'd cloned her. Take a look at the picture. Can you figure out which one is the real Jordan? It's the third one. She's got the same bracelet that Alex always wears. Looks like Jordan's uncle forgot to clone that small detail. Alfie told Jen he'd been assigned to a top-secret mission in a remote desert. Just couldn't keep it secret, I guess. Super excited about the opportunity, they decided to try out a long-distance relationship. Jen asked him to send lots of photos, and he did. But after seeing the pics, Jen realized something was off and called it quits. How did Jen figure out Alfie was cheating? One of the last pics that Alfie sent had palm trees in the background, but there aren't any palm trees in the desert. Plus, the photos of the animals, there were kangaroos and koalas, which definitely don't live in the desert. Looks like Alfie faked the pics and wasn't where he said he was. Oh, and in one of the photos, there's a lipstick smudge on his shirt. Uh-oh. Ed's mom was responsible for overseeing the catering of his wedding. She went inside the kitchen to check if everything was okay, but came outside screaming. Can you guess what made her so mad? Look at the top of the cake. There are 2 statues of creepy-looking elves instead of the bride and groom. She wanted them to fix that immediately. Your cousin invites you to an amusement park called Funland's Frenzy. When you arrive, the ticket seller says there's a rule you must figure out before you can enter. They give you a few clues. At Funland's Frenzy, there are roller coasters, but no bumper cars. There is cotton candy, but no popcorn. There is pizza with cheese, but not pizza with sausage. Can you figure out the rules of Funland's Frenzy just with this info? The rule is that only things with double consonants are allowed. So, cotton candy, roller coasters, and pizza are in, and the rest are out. Here's Hudson. He's a college teacher. It's the last day of the semester, so he has a bunch of paperwork in his office. Suddenly, someone turns off the electricity in the entire building. Hudson goes to the basement with generators. There he sees a turned-off switch and 3 people standing next to it. They all say they didn't touch anything, but one of them is lying. The janitor says, "The lights went out when I came here to clean up." Rebecca says, "I'm a new student. I got lost in the corridors and accidentally got here." And Nick says, "I'm a last-year graduate. I came here to find a toy owl, a souvenir I had hidden here many years ago." Who's lying? The janitor has a bucket and a mop, so he's not lying. There's a toy owl in the corner of the room, so Nick is telling the truth. Rebecca is lying. It's the end of the semester, so she can't be new at this time. One of Hudson's students, Paul, has a crush on another student named Liza. Once he got a note from her saying she liked him. So Paul decides to write her back and ask her out. Unfortunately, he doesn't remember which desk is Liza's. There are 2 possibilities. Can you guess which desk is the one he needs? If you remember, the note was written in green ink. There's a similar green pen lying on the desk on the right. So this is most likely Liza's desk. After classes, Hudson is leaving the building and faces a group of his students. They ask him to take their picture. Can you spot an odd detail in the resulting shot? This guy here has 3 hands. Liza and Paul are having fun outside during their winter break. Liza is learning how to skate on the lake, and Paul is skiing in the forest. Who's not smart? Liza. The ice on the lake is cracking, and there's no one around to help her. Unlucky Liza. Paul, meanwhile, returns to the dorm. He's starving, so he opens the fridge that he shares with his roommate Nick. Right away, Paul begins to yell at his roommate. "Nick, you stole my food again!" Nick replies, "You're a liar. I didn't." Paul says, "Well, I have proof. I took a picture of our fridge before leaving." Can you tell who's lying by just looking at these 2 images? Take a closer look. The shelves are signed. These 2 shelves are Nick's, and the other 2 Paul's. These 3 items disappeared from Paul's shelves. This means that the liar is Nick, and it's time for a new roommate. Meanwhile, Liza and Paul are having a date tonight. Apparently, the lady on the lake survived the cracking ice. But Liza's dorm is situated on the opposite side of this maze. Can you help Paul pass through this labyrinth to meet his date? Here is the only way out. The college dean, Nina, hires a handyman to transform the area around the campus. That's what she says. Your task is to put 7 benches. I will triple your paycheck if you find a way to put exactly 6 rows of benches in a straight line. Also, each row should have 3 benches in particular. Can you help the handyman accomplish this task? He should put 3 benches as the vertices of an equal triangle. 3 more benches should be put at the center of each side of triangle. And the last bench should be at the center. The handyman gets to work and goes to the storage room to grab some tools. Can you find 2 identical items? Hey, here they are. The handyman is bored, so he starts a quiz game. He keeps asking the same question to every student he meets, but each time the answer is different. Can you guess the question? The handyman's question is, how are you doing? Hudson's teenage daughter, Jill, failed a test. So he makes her stay at home and study instead of going to a friend's birthday party. Meanwhile, Nina's teenage daughter, Jules, got sick. So she spends the entire day in her bedroom instead of going to the movies. Both daughters come down to dinner at 7 o'clock. Which parent was deceived? Nina. Take a look at the window. It's raining heavily. Jules has wet hair and dirty water on the edges of her jeans. It means she was outside. Uh-oh, liar. The next morning, Hudson and Nina both wake up earlier to prepare breakfast for their families. Nina is making sandwiches. Meanwhile, Hudson is making eggs with bacon. Who's wrong? Hudson. Oops, he forgot to turn on the stove. Hudson is walking to work through his favorite park and sees this scene. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? There are two suns in the sky. Uh-oh, Tatooine. Hudson arrives at his class and starts with a witty riddle. Can you tell me which part of London exists in France as well? The correct answer is the letter N. A huge drama is taking place in a diner next to the college campus. The owner of this place screams, "Where's my money? It's 30 minutes till the end of the working day." But there's no money in the cash register. 3 employees have been working today, but they swear that they haven't touched the money. They say there have been no customers today. The boss doesn't believe them. He studies the employees, trying to spot the thief. Liza is wearing a pair of stylish sunglasses and brandy clothes. Mike is also wearing some costly designer clothes and an expensive phone. Robin is wearing a regular dress and fake jewelry. Who took the money? Nobody. Take a look at the sign on the door. It says "Open." That means that people on the street saw the closed sign on the other side. That's why nobody entered, and the cash register remained empty. Hudson finds a secret hallway in the basement of the college building. He decides to explore it and finds an old treasure chest. But as soon as he touches it, 3 zombie pirates come out and grab him. One of them says, "Hey, we've been protecting this gold for 500 years. You can't take it." Hudson notices that something's wrong with these guys. Can you figure out what exactly? Well, they seem fake. This zombie is wearing sneakers. The second one has a phone in his pocket. And the third zombie has a price tag attached to his saber. Ah, busted. Molly is very nervous. She met a great guy online, and today they're having their first offline date. They have never seen the pictures of each other. Their date will take place in an old part of the campus at night. Molly arrives at the meeting point and sees 2 guys. The first one says, "It's a weird place for a date, but I'm glad to see you." And the second guy says, "It's me. I couldn't wait to see you. You're even more pretty than your photos." One of them is Molly's date, while the other one, a dangerous criminal. Can you guess who is who? It's the second guy who is dangerous. He mentioned photos, but Molly didn't send her online crush any pictures of herself. Therefore, the first guy is her date. Molly and her date want to go to a local nightclub, but the guard can't let them in without a password. He gives the guys a hint. The more places I go, the less you can see. Who am I? Darkness is the password. It's a beautiful weekend day. Nina is working in her garden. Suddenly, someone attacks her from behind and she faints. Later that day, she gets better and talks to the police. Nina suspects one of her neighbors. Some of them don't really like her. Officers question 3 suspects. Bill says, "I've been planting trees with my daughter all day long." Sabrina says, "I was just peacefully watering my gorgeous flowers and continue to do so." Luke says, "I rarely leave my house, so I don't even know this woman." Who's suspicious? Sabrina's garden hose isn't even connected to the water source. It's just lying on the ground. Therefore, her story is fake.
Serena is a private investigator. This year, she decided to spend her vacation at a fancy ski resort. Serena arrives at the main gates and takes a look at the entrance. Then, she turns around to tip her taxi driver. After that, she returns to the gates and spots 3 changes. Can you also see them? Here they are. Serena enters the hotel. 3 porters offer to carry her bags, but one of them cannot help Serena with her luggage. Can you guess who and why? The guy in the middle has transparent hands that go through the walls. He's a ghost, so it's unlikely he'll be able to carry Serena's physical baggage. Serena approaches the reception desk. She's checking in along with 3 other people.
Hello.
Serena takes a look at her passports and immediately spots the fake one. What about you? The second guy's picture is black and white, but it's not a crime. The third lady's document also looks fine, but the picture of the first lady has snow-capped mountains in the background. No matter what country she's from, the background in the passport photo should be plain, so this ID is fake.
Yeah.
Finally, Serena receives a keycard for her room. She goes there right away, but unfortunately, the door doesn't open. Serena returns to the reception to complain. She sees another lady complaining about the very same thing. Can you guess what's going on here? Remember the room number on Serena's key? It's 981. If we turn this number upside down, we'll get 186. The manager confused these 2 keys. The ladies should simply exchange the keys, and the incident will be over.
Okay.
Finally, Serena enters her fancy suite. She takes a couple of pictures to send them to her friend. Can you find 10 differences between them? Feel free to stop the video if you need more time. Are you ready to see the answers? Here are all 10 differences. Serena unpacks her bags to go skiing. Oh no, she forgot her hat at home. Serena goes to the local winter sports store to purchase a new hat. Which items don't belong here? This toy robot, high heel sandals, and a plastic pyramid shouldn't be here. After shopping, Serena decides to visit the local bakery. Can you spot any extra items here? This can of pet food and a dog bowl doesn't belong here, as well as this cat tree. Finally, Serena is in her ski suit. She's riding in a cable car to the top of the mountain with other resort guests. Can you spot the one who hasn't paid for the lift? I bet this little mouse didn't pay for the ride. The fire alarm wakes Serena up in the middle of the night. One of the cottages on the territory of the ski resort caught fire.
Oh no.
Luckily, all the guests and staff members are safe. Serena finds 3 suspects. One of these people started the fire for sure. Can you guess who? It's the guy in the bathrobe. He's hiding a bottle of fire starter liquid in his pocket.
Oh my god.
In the morning, Serena goes to the breakfast buffet. There are 4 croissants on the tray. One of them is made of plastic.
Oh.
Can you spot which one? Someone has bitten off the first croissant, so it's probably real. The third croissant was a little burnt, so it's real dough. Take a closer look at the 4th croissant. Some chocolate leaked out of it onto the plate, so it must be real too. Therefore, only the 2nd croissant can be plastic.
Oh.
Serena starts her breakfast. A young lady named Maya is eating with her husband, not far from Serena's table. Suddenly, Maya gets sick and faints.
Oh my God.
Her husband calls doctors and they arrive immediately. They conclude that Maya has eaten something poisonous. The husband says, "It's impossible. My wife didn't eat or drink anything today except for the breakfast on this table. I ate it too, and I feel fine." The doctors test the food, and surprisingly, it's perfectly fine.
Oh.
Serena has already cracked this mystery. What about you? The poison was in Maya's lip balm. Serena suspects that Maya's husband poisoned her, so she decides to follow him to find some evidence. He enters his hotel room for a moment and then leaves. Serena sneaks into the room. She finds nothing suspicious except a hotel notebook. Someone tore out exactly 1 page from it. Fortunately, the writer pressed the pen very hard and left traces on the next page. Serena shades the paper with a pencil and reveals the following text. Can you help her decode this message? If we read this text backwards, we'll get Maya is in the hospital. Finish the job.
Oh my god.
Serena rushes to the hospital to get ahead of the criminal. She enters Maya's room and faces 4 clowns. One of them is the criminal, and the rest are just actors who perform all over the hospital to uplift the patients. Can you spot the imposter? The guy with the red bow is the criminal. He sneaked it from the decorations in this room because he was rushing to disguise himself.
Oh.
Serena calls the hospital guards to arrest the imposter, but he pushes everyone away and escapes through the back door. Serena follows him and ends up in the parking lot. The criminal is hiding in one of these cars.
Come to me.
Can you find him? These 3 single cars seem empty and they don't have any signs of break-in. Meanwhile, someone is moving in the back of this pickup truck. Busted! The police arrest the criminal and Maya's husband. Meanwhile, Serena returns to the hotel late at night to get some rest. Oh no! Her room is a mess! Someone clearly rummaged through her things.
What's this?
In the morning, Serena questions 3 suspects. The cleaning lady says, "Yesterday afternoon, I changed your bed sheets, washed coffee stains off the carpet, and left." The manager says, "I sent a repairman to fix the sink in your bathroom, but I myself didn't enter." The repairman says, "Last night I visited your room to fix the sink. Your stuff was all over the place, but I just thought you were a messy person. Who's lying? The cleaning lady. She said she had removed the coffee stains from the carpet, but they're still here. Serena lands on a chair in the hotel lounge to sign a stack of postcards for her friends. Suddenly, she smells hot chocolate from the cafeteria. She goes there to order a cup for herself. In a couple of minutes, Serena returns to her chair. Oh no! The postcards are gone. She questions 3 people nearby. Mike says, I was reading a book all the time, so I didn't look around. Richard says, I was taking pictures of my girlfriend Stella. You can take a look if you don't believe me. And Stella says, Richard is telling the truth. I was posing for the camera. Why would I pay attention to your stuff? After hearing their stories, Serena knows for sure who's guilty. What about you? Take a closer look at Richard's pictures. Stella is in front of a fireplace. If we zoom in, we'll see the postcards in the fire. These liars use them to make the flame burn brighter and look better in the pictures.
What?
Richard apologizes and buys a new stack of postcards for Serena. She grabs one of them and writes the following rebus on it. Can you crack the meaning of this message? To infinity and beyond. Serena is having small talk with Mike. She asks about his hobbies. Instead of answering, Mike draws the following rebus. Can you crack it? He likes to swim underwater. Serena says, I see you like puzzles. Crack my riddle and I'll get you a huge cup of hot chocolate. Mike agrees. Here's the riddle. The task is to replace the question mark with the correct letter. The letters imply the last letter of the sum of these numbers. 3 times 6 is 18, so the answer is N. 3 times 7 is 21, so the answer is E. And so on. 3 times 0 is 0. That's why we should replace the question mark with 0. Edward and Stan are best friends. Edward lives with his wife, Leah, and Stan lives alone. Can you spot Stan's house? There's a love note on the fridge in the right kitchen. Therefore, Stan lives in the left one. Edward is furious because Leah cleaned his home office without permission. Can you spot 5 changes? Here they are. A lot of neighbors gather for Edward's garage sale. One of them is a robot. Can you guess who? This gentleman. Stan is visiting a food court and finds 2 similar bakeries. Can you spot 5 differences between them? Over here. What about these burger places? Can you find 10 differences? Here they are. Can you spot a mistake in this menu? Tuna isn't an ice cream. What about this coffee menu? Any mistakes? Free toppings have a price. Stan works in an agency that holds super secret investigations. They're looking for people with superpowers all over the planet. One day, an anonymous user broke into their corporate system where all the data was stored. Stan finds 3 suspects who are capable of such crimes and interrogates them. He asks only one question. What did you manage to find out when you stole the data? Billy says, I haven't done this kind of crime for 15 years. I don't want to go back to prison. Anna says, I was going to steal your data, but I changed my mind. You didn't have any valuable information. Nobody will believe in superheroes. And Liam replies, Bruh, if I committed such a crime, I would have covered all traces. Who's lying? Anna. She couldn't have learned the secret information without breaking into their system. Stan is visiting a fashion show. He received a clue that one of these models can be a robot. Can you guess who? The second lady. She has a USB outlet on her neck. The robot model, Nina, is very famous, and nobody knows that she's not human. Stan invites her to his office. Nina confesses, I arrived from another planet to study human behavior. Unfortunately, someone recorded their secret interrogation and posted it online. Only 4 people were in the office at that moment. Stan questions them. Ryan, the cleaner, says, I was vacuuming the 5th floor and couldn't hear anything. Mia, the manager, says, I'm a huge fan of Nina, even though she's not a human. I would never set her up like that. And the guard, Billy, says, I didn't hear your conversation. I was watching a football match in my headphones. Who's lying? Ryan. Their office is a 4-story building. Nina invites Stan over for dinner. She lives in a big, circular house with a maid, a butler, and a gardener. Nina goes to her room to change. Suddenly, Stan hears her scream and runs to her. Oh no, someone broke into my safe and stole my diamond necklace. Stan interrogates the staff. The butler says he was organizing the library. The maid says that she was dusting the corners. And the gardener says she was watering the roses. Who is lying? The maid. She was dusting the corners, but Nina lives in a circular house. So there are no corners. Stan invites Nina to a fancy restaurant to refute rumors that she's a robot. Can you spot any mistakes in this menu? They confused pomegranate with meat. Stan leaves the table to wash his hands and returns in 2 minutes. Can you spot 5 changes? Here they are. Nina slips and falls on the floor. Now she needs to replace a broken fragment in her body as soon as possible. Stan takes her to a secret lab. They need to enter a 3-digit code to open the door. He starts looking for clues and notices some tips written on the wall. But the last digit is erased. Can you help them crack the password? The digits indicate the points of intersections of the lines, so the last digit is 4. They open the door and enter a spacious hallway. A note on the wall says, "Lab is behind the purple door." Can you help the guys find the purple door? The first door is wooden, but it has an inscription and an arrow indicating that the purple door is on the right. The second door is painted blue and red, so it doesn't fit. Let's take a closer look at the third door. There's purple color under the layer of yellow paint, so the guys choose this door. Nina throws a party at her house and invites Stan. He receives an anonymous message. There's a werewolf among the guests. Can you find this person? The first lady is wearing very long nails, and the second guy has a heavy beard. But it doesn't prove anything. But let's take a look at the third lady. She's trying to hide her shiny yellow wolf eyes under her fancy sunglasses. In the kitchen, Stan meets 3 chefs preparing delicious meals. One of them is a criminal. Can you guess who? The third lady. She's adding glass fragments to the food. Stan calls the police and they arrest the third chef. She confesses that one of the guests, John, bribed her. He asked her to put glass in Stan's plate, but there are 3 Johns at the party. The officer asks one of them just one question. How do you know Stan? John 1 says, I'm a billionaire and I don't do interrogations without my lawyer. John 2 says, I came here to see Nina because she's my crush. I've never seen Stan before. And John 3 says, Stan and I went to the same college. I haven't seen him for many years, but today we met by chance. Who's lying? John 1. He's wearing a fake Gucci sweater. It's unlikely that he's a billionaire. The next day, Stan wakes up in a dusty basement. A creepy voice says that Stan can pass through one of these 3 doors. Behind the first door, there's a tank with crocodiles. Jungles full of wild animals are hiding behind the second door, and there's a giant blue whale behind the third door. It can easily swallow an adult human. Which door is more or less safe? Stan should pick the third door. Whales can't survive without water, therefore, it's not a threat. Stan returns to his office and finds out that someone has stolen the most expensive superhero costume from the lab. Only 3 people knew about this artifact and had a key: Mia, Billy, and Rose. Stan questions everyone. Mia says, I was feeling sick yesterday, so I went home. Billy says, I locked the office at 10 p.m. and carried my key with me. And Rose says, I carried out technical testing of the suit in the afternoon. After that, I locked it up and left. Who stole the costumes? Mia. She's wearing a superhero costume under her clothes. Stan offers Mia a deal. If I write your exact weight on a piece of paper, you'll give the costume back. Mia agrees and gives Stan a piece of paper and a pen. In a minute, she returns the costume. How did Stan do it? Stan literally did what he said. He wrote the phrase, your exact weight, on the paper. Stan needs to find new investors for his agency. That's why he's meeting 3 people, and each offers Stan a deal. Mallory says, I used to have unique superpowers when I was little, but I didn't develop them. Now I'm old and rich, and I want to invest in your lab to help people like me. Cherry says, my parents left me billions of dollars. I want to invest in progressive projects. And Alfred says, look, I can help you develop your agency, but I want to have a controlling stake and hire my own staff. One of them is a liar. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at Mallory's hand. She's a robot. Therefore, her story is a lie, because robots don't age.
Kyle wakes up and finds himself in a mysterious hospital. He's trying to open the door, but it's locked. Suddenly, a creepy voice announces, "Hello there, I'm Dr. Hart." Clever name. "I hid a bunch of riddles all over this hospital. You must solve them all to escape." First of all, Kyle needs to crack a 5-digit passcode to open the door. Can you help him? This poster is a hint. Kyle should count the number of rings on each finger. There's 1 ring on the thumb, a 0 on the index finger, 2 rings on the middle finger, 3 on the ring finger, and 0 on the pinky. So the code is 10230. Kyle nails it and enters the next room. There he meets 3 nurses, Lily, Lauren, and Luke. They were born to the same mother on the same day at the same time in the same month and year. Yet they're not triplets. To go further, Kyle needs to figure out how this is possible. Lily, Lauren, and Luke all belong to a set of quadruplets. Well, that's rare. Kyle runs down the hallway and faces these 2 doors. Dr. Hart announces over a loudspeaker, "You only have 1 chance to pick the correct door. If you make a mistake, you'll stay trapped forever." Can you help Kyle out? These weird letters on the doors are hints. If we replace each letter with the previous one in the alphabet, we'll get the words trap and exit. So Kyle should choose the right door. Kyle enters the hospital lounge area and meets Holly. She says, "If you crack my riddle, I'll give you a hint for the next one. So listen carefully. Yesterday, I went shopping with a doctor. I am the doctor's sister, but the doctor is not my brother. Who's the doctor?" The doctor is Holly's sister. Kyle cracks Holly's riddle and gets this hint from her. Can you help him crack this rebus? Win with ease. Kyle faces another locked door. It requires a 5-digit password. Do you have any idea what it could be? Holly mentioned that she would give Kyle a hint. Take a closer look at the word ease. If we replace each letter with its number in the alphabet, we'll get the code 51195. Kyle nails it, opens the door, and sees 4 people. Dr. Hart invites him to crack the next riddle. The lady's name is Bonnie, and these 3 guys are her husband, brother, and her son. Can you guess who is who? The third guy has the same curly hair as Bonnie, so he must be her brother. The first guy has a heart tattoo with the letter B on his chest. This is her husband. And the second guy is Bonnie's son. Kyle is doing good, so he's allowed to enter the hospital's cafeteria and have a snack. But first, Dr. Hart asks him to find out something. Are there more tomatoes or apples in this room? There are 5 apples and 6 tomatoes in this location. So the correct answer is tomatoes, or tomatoes. After lunch, Dr. Hart announces the next riddle. Two guys, a doctor and a bus driver, are both in love with the same woman named Monica. The bus driver needs to go for a long trip for 10 days. Before leaving, he gives Monica 10 apples. Why? Well, as the saying goes, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Kyle enters a creepy lab. His task is to take a look at these two X-rays and figure out who's not from this planet. The X-ray on the left has weird wires in the skull. So here's the guy from another planet. Kyle nails it, and Dr. Hart announces the next riddle. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. Who am I? I'm an echo. Kyle enters the next room and meets Fiona. She has to take two kinds of pills on a daily basis. Let's call them A and B. Fiona must take exactly one A pill and exactly one B pill per day, otherwise she'll faint. To take the pills, she must first dissolve them in water. Fiona has a jar of A pills and a jar of B pills. Today, she was about to take her pills. Fiona took out one A pill from the A jar and put it in a glass of water. Then she accidentally took out two B pills from the B jar and put them in the water too. Now she's having a glass of water with 3 dissolved pills, 1 A pill and 2 B pills. Unfortunately, the pills are very expensive, so she can't just waste them. Can you help her take the correct quantity of pills while not wasting any of them? Fiona should add one more A pill to the glass and let it dissolve. Then she should just take half the water today and the other half tomorrow. Kyle helps Fiona, and she shows him the way to the hospital lobby. There, Kyle meets 3 ladies and a guy. Dr. Hart announces, "This guy's girlfriend has the key to open the next door." Can you help Kyle figure out which one of these ladies has the key? The third lady is wearing a hairband, and the guy has the same hairband on his wrist, so they're probably a couple. Kyle enters the next door and finds himself in a basement. Now his task is to walk through this twisted maze. Can you help him out? Here's the only way out. Kyle manages to escape the maze and comes across 3 doors. He needs to walk through one of them. There's a storage for toxic incense behind the first door. When burned, this incense makes a person faint and sleep for 2 days. A huge mutant rat is crawling around the second room. This rat is the size of a cow and has 2 rows of teeth. And there's a hungry guard dog behind the third door. Can you help Kyle choose the best way out? Kyle should pick the first door. As long as the incense is in the package, it's not dangerous. Kyle enters a ward and sees 2 nurses, Stella and Bella. Both nurses have identical lunches: ham sandwiches, apples, and black coffee. Suddenly, Bella gets sick and faints, but Stella feels great. Later that day, they figure out that Bella was poisoned. They check the food too. It's perfectly fine. Can you help Kyle resolve this mystery? Stella didn't open her disposable cutlery package, so she probably ate with her hands. Meanwhile, Bella did use her plastic fork and knife, which were poisoned. It's getting late and Dr. Hart offers Kyle to choose one of these 3 rooms for a sleepover. Which room is more or less safe? There's a ghost on a chair in the first room. There's a creepy phantom in the mirror in the second room. So Kyle should stay in the third room. After a while, Kyle wakes up in the room and sees Dr. Hart drawing some sort of a flower on the wall. He says, "2 letters are missing here. Guess which ones, and I'll set you free. If you don't, you'll stay here forever." Can you help Kyle out? The missing letters are T and T. Dr. Hart says, "Okay, you can go now. There are 3 cells leading outdoors. You can choose whatever you like. Good luck." Dr. Hart disappears. Kyle notices creepy creatures staring at him through the bars. There's a half-lion, half-zebra in the first cell. A wolf-headed sheep is waiting in the second cell. The third cell is guarded by a tiger-headed gorilla. Which cell should Kyle open? The first one. The creature is chained to the wall, so this is more or less safe compared to the other options.
Hey there! Today we'll be solving cases and mysteries to maintain safety and order. Are you ready to help? Then let's go!
Yeah.
Here's the first task. A group of cyborgs from a different planet arrived on Earth to study humans' behavior. The police are now tracking them down to keep an eye on everything, so they need to identify all the cyborgs, and they need your help to find a couple of cyborgs in disguise. We're in a cafe, where a group of old-school friends met for a reunion. Who is not really human? This lady right here, the one who's eating with a fork and a nail, this cyborg hasn't quite figured out how life on Earth works yet. Great job, but we have more. What about these guys? Do you see anyone suspicious? This guy right here has purple eyes, so my money is on him. Here's a photo one resident made at a local beach. Take a close look. Which individual isn't a real human being? This one right here. Electrical sparks are coming from him. Okay, this is it with our state. The police in other states and countries will deal with their parts. Now some more private issues.
Yeah.
Mr. McGraw is a single father of 3. Last month, he went on a business trip for a couple of days, and his sons stayed home alone. Old enough, but maybe not wise enough, because when Mr. Jones returned home, he found out that someone crashed their car.
Okay, boys, speak now. Who took the car?
But none of the boys admitted it. Tim said, "These 2 days I spent at home studying." Drew said, "I went to see some friends once, but I took the bus." John said,
"I don't even like driving."
"Inspect the car and try to figure out which son is guilty." Look, there's a hoodie left in the car. This is the hoodie John was wearing the day Mr. McGraw left, so he must have caused the accident. This case isn't at all criminal, but someone still needs your help. In a local high school, prom is approaching, and everyone is busy looking for a date. Our main character right here found a note in his locker. Obviously from some fearless girl asking him out, but he can't read the message and doesn't even know who asked him out. Can you help him figure out what's written on the card? It's obviously a cipher, and gladly not the hardest one. Every word is just spelled backwards, so if you put the letters in the normal order, the note will say, "You belong with me, Prom?" There's a name too. It's Juliet. Hopefully our guy will accept the invitation. One of the police stations received a call. A young girl, Allison, reported that her new purple bike, one she saved up for and bought herself, was stolen. Just 1 week after she bought it. The girl asked to help her, and one of the officers was up for the case. She did her research and narrowed it down to 3 suspects. Take a look at them and tell which person stole Allison's bike. It's this mean dude. His bike appears black, but he painted it over its real color. Look, here the paint has chipped a little bit, and you can see the original purple color of the bike. A local jewelry store was robbed. Unfortunately, the police couldn't trace the robber. 2 weeks later in the evening, a city detective, Este, received a call from a farm in the suburb saying that they found something. Este arrived at the farm. The farmer said, "I was working in the field and found this message in a bottle. It's a map. It's about that store robbery. Now I look back, I remember that I saw someone in my field 2 weeks ago. It was a full moon, and I saw a silhouette, but I assumed it was an animal." Este arrested the farmer for further investigation. Why? The story looked legit in the beginning, but then he mentioned the full moon. As you can see, it's a full moon now, so it couldn't be the case 2 weeks ago. That's the moment Este knew that the farmer was making something up. A young aspiring actress went missing on her camping trip. She went to the woods all by herself to prepare for her upcoming role. The first people who saw her, 1 week after she left, were police officers in a police department, where she arrived to report her kidnapping. "I went to prepare for a role and had all the necessary survival equipment. At first, it was all new romantics, but on the 3rd night, I woke up tied up in the dark. It was a man, but I didn't see him. It was dark the whole time. It took me 4 days before I managed to escape. As soon as I was out of the woods, I ran here, to the nearest police department. You need to find him." The police officer didn't believe her. Why not?
Uh-oh.
The actress says she's just out of the woods, but look at her. She's dressed in style. Her hair looks amazing. That's not what stranded kidnapped people look like, and the detective didn't believe her. A rich young lady was having a party in a VIP club on New Year's Day. Over 200 people were invited. In the middle of the party, the hostess's lover noticed that her diamond earrings went missing.
Oh no!
The police arrived to investigate this delicate case and narrowed it down to 3 suspects. Abigail said, "I'd never steal anything." Stephen said, "The earrings are gorgeous. Everyone noticed them, but stealing..." Cornelia said, "You need to calm down. I am rich." Who's your prime suspect? Look at Cornelia's purse. It's supposed to be an expensive Hermes purse, but the logo is wrong. So, it's a cheap fake. And there's still a tag on her dress, which isn't really rich. She's just playing along to fit in. Someone robbed a bank in a city. and Detective Este was leading the investigation. It was known that 2 people worked on it, but only one of them was caught, Clyde. Clyde refused to name his partner, so the police had to continue their investigation. After months, they had 3 main suspects, Bonnie, Ivy, and Dorothea. Can you figure out who the other criminal is? It's Bonnie. Look, both Bonnie and Clyde have the same snake tattoo on their wrist, so they must be in the same gang. Now let's take a break and train your eyes a little bit. Long story short, Betty is getting ready for a concert and needs your help finding some stuff in her closet. She's looking for a dress, a cardigan, and a red scarf. Here are the exact pictures to help you find the right item. Can you locate them all? Here's the scarf, that's the dress, and look, the cardigan is right here. Good job! Okay, the second and the last item hunt. This is Betty's bedroom. Can you locate a pair of cowboy boots, heart-shaped sunglasses, and red lipstick? Here they are. Did you find them all? Okay, the last one for today. It was a rainy midnight, and Scarlett was studying late in her college library since the hardest exam of the term was 2 days away. At some point, she left to go to the bathroom and grab a snack from a vending machine. When she returned, she noticed that some of her notes went missing.
Oh no!
Apart from the librarian, there were just 3 more people in the library at that hour, so she asked them about the notes. The first student said, "I don't steal, I worry about karma." The second student said, "I went for a walk outside to clear up my head." The third one said, "I was studying, I don't know anything." Who do you think knows something about Scarlett's notes? It's the second student. He said he took a walk outside, but it was raining. If he really did that, he'd be all wet. But he's not.
One day, Marcus was going home from work. There was a blackout in the city and everything was shrouded in darkness. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. Someone was rushing behind him. He started to turn around to check, and that's when the world around him went totally black. Marcus came to his senses in a basement, dimly lit by several candles. There were 3 doors before him. Behind the first door, hungry zombies were waiting for their next meal. Behind the second door, a fire was raging. And the third door hid a mess of bare electric wires. Now, you're the only one who can save Marcus. Write in the comments which door he should choose right away. As you might remember, there's a blackout in the city, so electrical wires are totally harmless at the moment. Marcus should slip through the third door. Strangely enough, the guy found himself in a barber shop. After staring at the scene in front of his eyes for a moment, he realized that one of his clients was in grave danger. Write who it is in the comments below and prove yourself to be as smart as Marcus. Marcus spotted that the red-haired hairdresser had mistaken a bug spray for a hairspray. But once he opened his mouth to warn the client, the entire room vanished into thin air. It was just a hologram. Was someone playing with Marcus? The guy went further. At one point, he turned around the corner and a freezing gust of wind hit him in the face. Marcus was outside and it was winter all around. Behind his back, there was no building, just snowdrifts and dark trees. The man could only move straight ahead. There were 3 paths ahead of him, but the one on the left led through the den of hungry wolves. To follow the one in the middle, Marcus would have to pass by a family of bears. And the right path went over a frozen lake covered with thin ice. The guy is freezing. Help him in the comments as fast as you can. Marcus should choose the path in the middle. It's winter, and bears kind of hibernate during this season. The guy is quiet, he won't wake them up, and will get out of the forest safely. And indeed, Marcus managed to escape danger and soon spotted a house hidden among the trees. But only after he entered did he realize it was a very strange and creepy house. The main clue was 4 doors in front of the guy. Behind door number 1, there was a room filled with piranha-infested water. Door number 2 hit a mountain slope. When someone stepped on it, an avalanche came hurtling down. Behind door 3, there were electric wires hanging low above the floor and some wet stains on the floor. And behind door number 4, there was nothing but a small room with just one window on the 58th floor, nothing else. Write your pick in the comments below faster than the other Brightside detectives. Marcus should walk through door 3. Since the wires don't actually touch the floor, the guy will be able to bend and crawl to the other exit. Unfortunately, whoever was testing Marcus's survival skills didn't want to make life easy for the guy. The door leading out of the room was locked and had 4 keyholes. There were also 4 keys hanging on the wall next to it. If Marcus wanted to get out of the room, he had to match the keyholes and the keys. If you can help him crack this tough test, comment "I can" below the video. Look at the bows of these keys. They all have openings with different numbers of edges. And the trick here is that the number of edges should meet the code number under each keyhole. Marcus was finally out of that scary room, but his adventures were far from over. Of all places, he found himself in a jail canteen. To get past these inmates, he needed to figure out which of them was the wealthiest. Can you help Marcus? The man on the left is a chef. That's why he has a special meal. The guy in the middle has some gold jewelry, but it's unlikely it can help him a lot in jail. As for the man on the right, he has a smartphone hidden in his pocket. And in prison, such a gadget means the ability to communicate with the outside world. So he must be the most influential and richest among them. But if you disagree, write your opinion in the comments. Poor Marcus. To get out of the jail canteen, he needed to choose the safest exit. But all of them seemed equally terrifying. The first one led to the den of a horrible dragon. The second to a room filled with boiling lava. And to get to the third room, Marcus would have to sneak through flesh-cutting laser beams. Well, that's a tough choice. Tell Marcus in the comments which way he should pick. The safest way is probably to sneak through the third exit. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but at least those laser beams are not moving. The next place Marcus found himself was in a battle area. Apparently, that mysterious force that was playing with him had notched the game. 3 creatures were waiting for the guy, and he needed to fight one of them to survive. The first monster had the head of a rattlesnake and the body of a giant ferret. The second one had the body of a gorilla and the head of an alligator. And the third creature had the face and body of a great white shark and the tail and claws of a bear. Which monster should Marcus choose? Share your wisdom in the comments. The first 2 monsters are likely to be extremely dangerous opponents. Imagine how agile and venomous the snake ferret might be. and the gorilla gator is certainly too strong for Marcus to defeat. As for the shark bear, well, since sharks have gills and can't breathe on land, the guy will just need to wait a bit, and this opponent will get out of his way on his own. Once everything was over, Marcus was transported to a dimly lit room. A bizarre-looking family was in front of him. Marcus had to figure out which member of this family was possessed by a ghost. Being as observant as he was, he soon found the answer. And how observant are you? Write in the comments. Admittedly, this woman looks kinda scared, but she's not possessed. She's choked on some food and can't breathe. The man is wearing dark glasses, even though he's indoors. Suspicious. But he's blind. Do you see that white cane the blind use next to him? The granny is the one who is possessed. There's a trace of ectoplasm that goes through the whole room towards her. After successfully cracking the riddle, Marcus found himself in a jungle. After wandering for hours, he came to a place where the path split into 3 smaller trails. The first one led to an active volcano with red-hot lava bubbling in its crater. If Marcus chose the second path, he would get to a clearing swarming with venomous bats. And the third path ended in a swamp, swallowing everything and everybody that got there. If you know where the guy should go, tell him in the comments, please. Marcus chose the second path, since most bats are only active at night, plus they almost never attack humans, and found himself at home in his own bed. Was it just a creepy, very detailed dream? Write what you think about it. Hey, look at these couples. Can you spot anything weird here? Seems like the only real wife is the one on the right. She looks grumpy, but she is authentically human. Meanwhile, the lady on the left must be a robot. Just look at her legs. A local bank's money was stolen right in the middle of the day. But no one noticed that. Several days later, the room where the money used to be stored was found completely empty. There was just one note saying 7718. The police arrested 3 suspects, Bill, Jeff, and Cody, but the officers didn't know which of them was guilty. They invited a famous detective to crack the mysterious case, and the detective managed to decipher the note immediately. Can you do it too? So turn the paper upside down. This way, the numbers turn into a name, Bill. The man wants to enter an exclusive club, but he doesn't know the password. Another man walks up to the entrance. The doorman says 12, and the man says 6, and is allowed to enter. Another man approaches. The doorman says 6, the man says 3, and the doorman lets him in. Thinking he's heard enough, our guy walks to the door. When the doorman says 10, he says 5. But he isn't allowed to enter. What should he have said? Three. The correct answer is the number of letters in the word the doorman says. Martin was a robber. One day he was trying to escape from the police after robbing a bank. He had 3 gold bars in his arms, each weighing 20 pounds. Ooh. The only way to get away was to cross a bridge, which could only support 220 pounds. The 3 bars of gold weigh 60 pounds, and Martin weighed 180 pounds. Could he cross the bridge without getting rid of any of the bars? Now, Martin can't leave a bar of gold and come pick it up later, so the only solution is to make those bars fly. To make it happen, Martin must juggle them. This way, only 2 bars will add extra weight to the bridge, while the third one will always remain airborne. Voila! 180 plus 20 plus 20 equals 220, so the bridge can totally handle it. However, Martin couldn't handle it because he couldn't juggle, and the police got their man. A thief entered a high-end boutique and forced the shop assistant to open the safe. The shop assistant said, "The code for the safe is different every day, and if you harm me, you'll never get the code." But the thief managed to guess the code on his own. How did he do it? The thief was smart. The code to the safe was the word "different," just as the shop assistant said. A wealthy businessman, Mr. Ben Swift, was taken away and locked up in a dark room. His phone had almost no charge. He could only send one message. He knew that someone could be spying on his phone, so he decided to send a message with a code to a high school friend, John Smith, who had a detective agency. He remembered that in high school, they would cipher messages to each other, replacing each letter with the one to the left. So he sent this. Can you guess what it means? It's not gibberish. Once you decipher it, the message reads accountant, so it seems his accountant is to blame. You're wandering through the jungle when, all of a sudden, you see a magnificent ancient castle. You enter it and see its inhabitants. It's kind of hard to say if they're friendly or not, but hey, look, they've just fetched you some snacks. Still, you can tell from their grins that these snacks might be a trap for you. You can't say no to them and need to choose something to eat. There are 4 muffins in front of you. They all look yummy and your mouth is watering. One of the inhabitants, who seems to be the leader, tells you that the first muffin has some fermented cabbage inside. The second is swarming with live ants. The third has mud instead of chocolate cream. And the fourth one has aki fruit inside. So, which dessert should you opt for? A muffin with fermented cabbage may sound weird, but it's safe to eat. You've tried fermented cabbage, aka kimchi, before and you loved it. For those who love unusual stuff, the fourth muffin is okay too. Aki fruit is delicious when cooked properly. As for the ants and mud muffins, I'd pass. Lucy is a nail technician. Her services are free to anyone who wants to set up an appointment. However, most people still end up paying her. How so? Lucy only does one hand for free, so most people who come end up paying the full price. They don't want to look weird with their nails done only on one hand. Poor Kathy lived with a stepmother and 3 wicked stepsisters. Her dream was to go to a lit party, which she had been waiting for a year. Her stepmother, Eveline, never let Kathy go anywhere. But this time, Eveline decided to let Kathy go as soon as she had finished with all her tasks. The stepmother asked Kathy to bring her some water, but she gave her a colander to carry the water. How can Kathy bring the water if she has nothing but a colander? Kathy needs to freeze some water and put it in the colander. It'll take some time to melt. When Eveline gets that colander full of ice, technically, it'll be full of water. Jeremy got lost while driving, so he found the nearest town and decided to spend the night in a hotel. After checking in, he went to the restaurant. Suddenly, the lights went off and everyone fell asleep. The next morning, Jeremy had a terrible headache and he couldn't remember anything. Look at these 2 photos. They were taken before and after the lights went out. Can you guess what happened? Look, there are some balloons in the first photo, but none in the second one. They must have been filled with sleeping gas. Someone wanted everyone to sleep. Jenny went grocery shopping and bought a lot of milk, yogurt, meat, and cheese. When she came back home, she realized that she had nowhere to store all these products as her fridge was already full. How can she save all the food she bought? Jenny needs to revise the stuff in her fridge. Look, there's a pack of rice, some chips, and even cookies. These products don't need to be stored in the fridge. Once she takes them out of the fridge, she'll have enough space to store the dairy products and meat she bought. Twiggy's got her 2 piggies. Alex grooves with his 2 wolves. And Tony has a pony. They're all on the shore of a vast and dangerous river. They need to get across, and there's only one small raft nearby. But it's not as simple as it might seem. There are 5 rules the guys need to follow. Rule number 1, the raft can only carry 2 of them. Number 2, only humans can row. Number 3, the piggies can't ride with Alex unless Twiggy is around. Number 4, the wolves can't ride with Twiggy without Alex. And finally, number 5, the pony can only ride with Tony. How can they all get across? First, they need Tony on board. He needs to take one of the wolves across the river. The rules don't prohibit it. When he comes back, Alex takes the second wolf across the river. Then Alex goes back alone. Twiggy joins him and they go to the other bank, where Twiggy leaves Alex and goes back alone. She gives the raft to Tony and his pony, and they go to the other bank. When they reach it, Alex takes the raft and goes back to pick up Twiggy. He picks her up, they go back, and Twiggy leaves Alex there. After that, she goes back to pick up her pigs one by one. Finally, I thought this was never going to end. Hey.
You're a fast and furious racer on a tropical island. You find a new motorbike online and call the salesman to arrange a test drive. Later that day, you arrive at the meeting point and see 2 guys with 2 identical motorbikes. One of them is the seller you spoke with, and the other one is a scammer who wants to sell you a stolen vehicle. Who's deceiving you? Think carefully and feel free to leave your answer in the comments. The salesman text message has the logo of his motorcycle store. The guy on the right has a baseball hat with the same logo. Therefore, he must be the store's official representative. Therefore, the guy on the left is a scammer. Congrats! The motorbike is now yours. You hit the road and you make your way across the pier. Suddenly you spot 3 people. Whom will you save first? Let us know in the comments. The teen is playing with a rattlesnake, which looks pretty dangerous. But luckily, it's not real, see? It has a barcode on the side, so it's just a toy. The lady is about to jump into the sea infested with sharks. But look carefully, she's just posing. Her boyfriend is filming a video. He's the only one who needs to be saved here because he's standing on rotten old wood. It's about to collapse. So he risks ending up swimming with sharks for real. You save the day and continue your ride. Oh no! The main road is closed for repairs. So you only have 3 options to return to your bungalow. The first route is the notorious mountain spiral road, known for its rockfalls. The second road is flat, but it leads through a jungle inhabited by crocodiles. And the third road is half flooded because it lies through the old cursed swamp. Which way will you choose to stay alive? Don't forget to share your answer in the comments section below. take a closer look at the second route. The sign says Crocodile Farm. This means that the crocs are kept indoors under supervision, so this is the safest choice. You take the second route and decide to visit the Crocodile Farm. Let's see how eagle-eyed you are. Who's in danger here? Write it down in the comments faster than the other bright side detectives. This tourist has crossed the barrier. The tourist's name is Mimi. You help her get out of the barrier safely, but in the process, she scratches her leg. So you bring Mimi to the local hospital. Can you spot anything suspicious here? If you nailed it, please share your answer. Easy peasy. The windshield of this ambulance car is covered with white paint. You enter the building and face 3 surgeons in the lobby. Which doctor is dangerous? Don't let the imposter get away. Share your suspicions. The first doctor is sleeping, but maybe she's just tired after a long shift. The second lady doesn't wear any gloves, but it's not a crime. She's having a coffee break. Meanwhile, the third lady's nails are too long and fancy for a surgeon's work, and she brought an open medical syringe to the lobby, which is not very hygienic. The doctor takes Mimi away. You decide to have a walk around the hospital and face the following scene. 2 greatest enemies, Gia and Kai, wake up simultaneously in a hospital room. Both immediately grab the scissors and try to cut each other's IV drips. Who's more likely to survive? Think carefully and tell us your answer in the comments. Someone whose drip is cut farther away from the arm has a better chance of surviving. This way, more medicine will manage to get into the body, and our hero will win extra time before the doctors arrive. So it's likely going to be Gia. You're starving, so you go to the local food court. Too late, it's already closed. Oh look, this kiosk is still working. There are 3 burgers left to choose from, but only one of them is safe to eat. Hit the like button if you can spot any poisoned food right away. The first burger was cooked 5 days ago, according to its tag. No, thank you. The third one was prepared today, but there's a fly sitting on the meat. Flies can spread diseases. Only the second burger, which is packed in cling film, is a safe option. Does anyone have a better answer? Feel free to share. The next day, you go to the local beauty salon to get a haircut. Unluckily, one of these hairdressers is a maniac. Write your answer in the comments if you can guess who. It's the second hairdresser. The fire haircut technique is pretty normal these days, but he's also hiding an axe in his pocket, which is far from normal. Busted! Your haircut is done, and now it's time to chat with your buddies. They send you some selfies. Sally is getting ready to skydive. Bobby is taking a yoga class. And Caleb is riding an ATV through a desert. Who's least likely to survive? Give this video a thumbs up if you already know the answer. Although Bobby is twisted in an incredible position, his teacher is watching his back. Scorpions are no threat to Caleb unless he gets out of his vehicle. But take a look at Sally's picture. There's lightning in the sky. It's not safe to skydive in a thunderstorm. You're walking in the jungle and find 3 banana palms. One of them is poisonous. Can you guess which one? Okay, the first stack looks bad at first glance because its bananas have turned dark, but it doesn't mean that they're poisonous. The third palm has the fewest bananas, so probably many people were eager to eat them. But take a look under the second palm. Someone picked a banana, took a bite, and then just dropped it on the ground. That's suspicious. So, this is the dangerous palm. But if you have a different opinion, please let us know in the comments. In the evening, you go to the local carnival. 3 ladies want to dance with you, but unfortunately, only one of them is a safe partner. Can you guess who's dangerous? Think carefully, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Although the first lady is wearing a cute rabbit mask, she's a thief. She's sneaking a phone from a guy in the crowd. Take a closer look at the third lady. A broken glass bottle sticks out of her pocket. It's not very safe to dance around her. Thus, only the second lady is safe. There are 3 routes you can take. The first path is covered with hot coals. The second with gross worms and toads. The third one with beautiful roses. Which path would you choose? Be sure to let us know in the comments. Hot coals can burn through your shoes and rose thorns can scratch your skin. So the second path is the best option. These creatures are no threat to humans. These 2 chefs cook over an open fire. One of them is in serious danger. If you already know who, hurry up to be the first to share it in the comments. Well, well. Take a closer look at the first chef. His scarf is already smoking. It's about to burst into flames. Fire alarm! The next day, you go for a walk on the beach. There's an open shower on the shore. You spot 3 guys washing off the sand after swimming in the sea. Whom will you save? The third guy is in danger. Take a look at the bottle he's using to wash his hair. It says Bleach. Bad idea, buddy. Hit the like button if you nailed it.
Mensa is a society for people with high IQs. Let's solve some challenging puzzles and test your IQ. We are at a birthday party and playing a fun game called musical seating. Guess whose birthday it is? 6 cozy sofas numbered from 1 through 6, and we have 6 guests. The seats are placed in a circle. Hit it, DJ! People start to circle around the sofas. When the music stops, everyone quickly sits down on the sofas. They make sure each sofa has just 1 guest. No squeezing next to a friend. As they settle in, everyone faces the center and the lucky person celebrating their birthday. Now here's how the circle of seating looks. 1. Meet Mike, who's not the birthday celebrant. He's seated right next to Susie. But don't expect Susie to be gazing at the birthday person. She's not seated directly across from them. 2. Julia, on the other hand, makes sure she's not cozying up next to Yuri. 3. Nat is a pro gamer and gets seated first. 4. Victor is 2 seats to the right of Julia. 5. Yuri, meanwhile, makes sure he's at least a couple of seats away from the birthday person. The $1 million question is, whose special day are we celebrating today? It's Julia's birthday. So, from our clues, we know that Mike sits next to Susie, Victor is 2 seats to the right of Julia, and Yuri isn't too close to the birthday person. So, looking at the circle clockwise, we have Mike, Susie, Victor, another sofa, Julia, and another sofa. Now, considering the second clue, our arrangement is narrowed down to Mike, Susie, Yuri, Victor, Nat, and Julia. Finally, using clue 5 to spot the birthday person, we're left with Julia, Mike, or Nat. But rule number 1 eliminates Mike and Nat. leaving us with Julia sitting on sofa 1, Mike occupying sofa number 2, Susie sitting on sofa number 3, Yuri on the 4th sofa, Victor on sofa number 5, and Nat occupying sofa number 6. So, happy birthday, Julia. Let's move on. A police chase puzzle. Only true detectives can solve this one. We're in a sprawling city whose streets form an infinite grid, crisscrossing in every direction. What's important for us is the main street. It boasts police officers stationed at every 100 blocks. A thief is now lurking in the city's shadows, and our mission is to guarantee they'll run right into the arms of the law forces. There's an important thing to consider. The thief has nimble feet and can dash faster than any officer, but the officers can see infinitely far. Think of these as their superpowers. Oh, and both the police and the thief are in the street at all times. Think about your strategy. We will start by dispatching officers to patrol the streets, running perpendicular to the main street. This strategic move will allow them to keep an eye on all the streets that run parallel to the main street. With this two-pronged approach, we've got every corner of the city covered, and there's nowhere for our wily robber to hide. Now let's establish some basic terminology. We'll call the streets that run parallel to the main street as avenues, and the ones that run perpendicular as streets. We'll number the streets from negative infinity to positive infinity, creating a neatly organized cityscape. Our operation starts with officers stationed on the main street at street 0, positive 100, negative 100, positive 200, negative 200, and so forth. To crack this case, we're rolling out a two-part plan. Step 1. As soon as the chase begins, the officers stationed on the odd hundreds will set off towards street 0. Meanwhile, the officers on the even hundreds will hold their ground. This maneuver ensures that our slippery suspect is confined to a city district that's only 200 blocks wide. Anytime they cross a street that's a multiple of 200, they'll be squarely in the view of an officer stationed at the intersection of that street and the main street. Step 2 starts when the officers from the odd hundreds cease their promenade along the main street once they reach street +/1, street +/2, +/3, and so forth. At this point, they'll take a right turn and continue their vigilant patrol. The officers from the positive numbered streets will march in one direction, while their counterparts from the negative numbered streets will proceed in the opposite direction. As each officer traverses their respective street, they'll cast their watchful gaze down every avenue they come across. With an infinite number of officers at our disposal, we can be certain that eventually, officers will patrol every street from street +/1, +/2, +/3, and so on up to some finite value, let's call it n. In simpler terms, we're going to make sure that all the streets within the 200-block vicinity of our lawbreaker will have officers patrolling them. If our thief wants to remain at large, their only option is to hide on one of the avenues. But sooner or later, as our officers venture away from the main street, scrutinizing every avenue they pass, the cat and mouse game will be over. Mission accomplished. 3 switches are in charge of lighting up 3 bulbs in a special way. Each switch operates just one bulb, and each bulb is under the spell of just one switch. However, there's a twist, as only one of the following claims is true. Switch #1 declares, I'm the controller of bulb B. Switch #2 states, I'm the boss of either bulb A or C. And switch #3 claims, I've got my grip on either bulb A or B. So can you figure out the perfect match between the switches and the bulbs? If you said switch #1 goes with C, switch #2 gets on with B, and switch #3 pairs up with A, then you solved the puzzle. The key is that only the last statement is true. If the first statement was true, then the other 2 would have to be false. This would create a problem because switch #1 would have to control both B and C. If the second statement told us the truth, switch #2 would control A or C, leaving bulb B in the dark. This isn't allowed. Lastly, if the third statement was true, then switch #3 would control A or B, making switch #1 control A or C, and switch #2 control B. This arrangement works. Voila. The first 2 statements are not true. The next puzzle is a morning dilemma. This one is from the Department of Physics of Oxford University. So you're running late for work, but also craving a caffeine kick. You pour yourself a steaming cup of black coffee, but it's hot to handle. How can your cuppa cool down more effectively? You have two options. You can go all in, adding milk right away, and then patiently twiddle your thumbs for a few minutes before taking a sip. Or you can play it cool, letting your coffee sit for a few minutes and then swoop in with the milk just before that first sip. The winning ticket is the second option. Here's why. Your coffee starts off hotter than in option 1 when you introduce the milk. The thing is, hotter things have a knack for cooling down faster, thanks to a bigger temperature gap with their surroundings. So, in option 2, your coffee is racing against time, cooling down at a quicker pace. Interestingly, both options result in the same amount of time needed to cool the drink down, but at different rates. Since nearly all these puzzles are from Mensa, let's define this global brainy community. It boasts over 150,000 members from all walks of life, spanning more than 90 countries around the globe. But what exactly do they do? Imagine a bustling place where members dive into the intellectual deep end through captivating lectures, enlightening journals, and special interest groups.
Hey, ready to answer these 30 general knowledge questions? The farther you get, the harder the questions are. Ready, steady, go! What is the closest star to Earth? Is it A, the Moon, B, the Sun, or C, Mars? It's the Sun! If you rush to say that the Moon is the closest one, you were wrong. The Moon is a satellite, and Mars is a planet. 2. Which country was the Titanic built in? Is it A, the United Kingdom, B, France, or C, the United States? It was built in the UK, and it was supposed to go to America. What is Brazil's official language? Is it A, Spanish, B, Brazilian, or C, Portuguese? It's Portuguese. While it's true that in most countries in the Americas, people speak Spanish, Brazil is the only country that has Portuguese as its national language. As for Brazilian, it doesn't really exist. Now, what's the capital of Spain? Is it A, Madrid, B, Barcelona, or C, Lisbon? I know you discarded Lisbon instantly. It's in Portugal. As for the Spanish capital, it's Madrid and not Barcelona. 5. In which country is the city of Venice located? A, Austria, B, Switzerland, and C, Italy. Tick-tock. Sure thing, it's in Italy. By the way, did you know that it's built on a group of 126 islands? 6. How many muscles control the movement of the human eye? Is it 6, 12, or 32? The correct answer is 6. 7. On which continent is Panama located? Is it Europe, Asia, or America? It's in America. By the way, despite being commonly known as Panama hat, this hat actually comes from Ecuador and is also referred to as Ecuadorian hat. 8. What is the largest animal in the world? A, hippopotamus, B, elephant, or C, blue whale? It's the blue whale. Just one blue whale can weigh as much as 40 elephants. 9. What is the capital of the United States? Is it A, sunny LA, B, the city that never sleeps, New York, or C, Washington, D.C.? Sure thing, it's Washington, D.C. What is the rarest blood type? Is it A, B negative, B, A negative, or C, Rh null? It's C. Rh null blood, or simply golden blood, is characterized by the absence of Rh antigens in red blood cells. This blood type is extremely rare, with fewer than 50 known cases globally. The first recorded instances were observed in Aboriginal Australians. 11. Which planet is known as the Red Planet? Is it A, Jupiter, B, Mars, or C, Venus? It's Mars. We call it this way for a simple reason. Iron minerals in the Martian soil get oxidized, and the surface gets a signature red hue because of this chemical reaction. 12. Who wrote the play Romeo and Juliet? Is it A, Charles Dickens, B, William Shakespeare, or C, Mark Twain? Sure thing, it's William Shakespeare. By the way, despite being super productive and writing 38 plays in his life, Shakespeare struggled with spelling since there were no standard rules at that time. Even though William went to school, spelling wasn't included in the curriculum, and everyone spelled words according to their own preferences. Shakespeare himself wrote his name in various ways. Which element has the chemical symbol O? Is it A, gold, B, oxygen, or C, osmium? It's oxygen. Gold is Au, which stands for aurum, and osmium is Os. 14. What year did the Titanic sink? Was it A, 1912, B, 1905, or C, 1898? 1912. If you didn't answer this one, well, you gotta go check out some of the Titanic videos. Here on Brightside, we've got a bunch of them. 15. What is the smallest prime number? A, 0, B, 1, or C, 2? It's 2. A prime number is a natural number that is greater than 1 and cannot be expressed as the product of two smaller natural numbers. It cannot be evenly divided by any other positive integers without resulting in a remainder, fraction, or decimal. For instance, 13 is an example of a prime number. 16. What is the first organ to develop in an embryo? Is it A, brain, B, heart, or C, lungs? It's the heart. 17. Now look at this image. What is this instrument called? Is it A, trumpet, B, bagpipes, or C, saxophone? It's bagpipes, the national instrument of Scotland. As the name suggests, it has a pipe, called the blowstick, and a bag, along with two more essential parts: the chanter and the drones. The bag contains the air that the piper directs into it. This air is then compressed, which is crucial as it enables the air to travel through the drones and chanter to produce sound. Historically, bags were crafted from animal skins, but now there are also synthetic alternatives available. 18. What is the brain's main energy nutrient? Is it A, fat, B, glucose, or C, salt? Glucose. It's claimed that an adult person needs up to 7 ounces of glucose a day. So if you crave that chocolate bar, go for it. 19. How old is Earth? A, 4.5 billion years, B, 6 billion years, C, 3 billion years. Yep, it's around 4.5 billion years old. 20. Which ocean is the largest? Is it A, the Atlantic Ocean, B, the Indian Ocean, or C, the Pacific Ocean? It's the Pacific Ocean. Not only is it the largest ocean, but it's also the deepest ocean on Earth. 21. Who painted the Mona Lisa? Was it A, Vincent van Gogh, B, Claude Monet, or C, Leonardo da Vinci? Sure thing, it's genius Da Vinci. By the way, this painting may be unfinished. Leonardo started creating the Mona Lisa in the early 1500s, and he continued to perfect the artwork till as late as 1516 or 1517. In 1517, Da Vinci had partial paralysis in his right hand, which may have made it difficult for him to add final details to the painting. 22. What's the longest river in the world? A. The Amazon River, B. The Nile River, or C. The Missouri River? Officially, it's the Nile. Still, some scientists argue that it's the Amazon, as its source was reconsidered some time ago. 23. Which country is known as the land of the rising sun? Is it A. China, B. Japan, or C. Thailand? All of these countries are great, but it's Japan that is said to be the land of the rising sun. Why? Just take a look at the map. 24. What is the hardest natural substance on Earth? A. Gold, B. Diamond, C. Iron. Sure thing, it's the diamond. 25. On which continent is the Sahara Desert located? Is it A. Asia, B. Africa, or C. Australia? No doubts here, the Sahara Desert is in Africa. Hey, if you thought it was the biggest one, you aren't right. It's the biggest hot desert, but the biggest deserts in the world are in Antarctica and the Arctic. 26. What is the most spoken language in the world? Is it A. English, B. Mandarin Chinese, or C. Spanish? Don't get tricked by China's impressive population. Mandarin Chinese takes the second place with 1.1 billion speakers. English takes first place with almost 1.5 billion speakers. Spanish only has 560 million speakers, and it's the fourth most spoken language in the world. 27. Which fruit is known as the king of fruits? A. Mango, B. Durian, or C. Apple? So, if your answer is durian, you are Team Southeast Asia. For that region, it's the king of fruits. If your answer is mango, it means you are Team India. And if your answer is apple, it might mean you just like apples. 28. What shape is Earth? Is it A. Flat, B. Spherical, or C. Round? Scientifically speaking, Earth is an oblate spheroid, meaning it's a tad flatter at the poles and rounder in the middle along the equator. Yes, the globe at school lied to you this whole time. 29. What is the only planet in our solar system that rotates on its side? A. Venus, B. Uranus, or C. Neptune? It's Uranus. 30. In which year did the first email message get sent? A. 1971, B. 1969, or C. 1980? It was over 50 years ago in 1971. Tomlinson, the guy who tested it, sent the first email to himself, and the message was… Actually, he didn't remember what exactly he had sent. He thought it might have been something like QWERTY Yui up? Just the top row of letters on a standard keyboard. How many questions did you answer right? Let us know in the comments.